dun, 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 just about there. Yeah, yeah. Hey, friend, are you there? Are we there? Are we alive?
I guess.
Your weekly dose. Oh, I've got this. I've got this. I'm getting better at this here. Let's the party crashing, check cashing, potato mashing, pinata bashing, price slashing, teeth gnashing, hotel room thrashing, burger smashing, smile flashing, leisure podcast back on a Thursday evening. Scott Leisure and the incomparable, multi-talented Denver legend Jackie Selby.
Jackie Selby.
Ta-da.
How's it going, Scott?
Excellent. How are you, my friend?
I am so good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why are you so good? You're still unemployed.
I know, huh? That funny.
That's beautiful, though. You should be good. You should be good. We all should be good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Society wasn't so complicated.
Society. Oh, man. Well,
I know.
Speaking of society, I've got a list. We've got a friend coming on that's going to discuss about what was the post, life is only lived when you live it, or how did it go?
I just asked you.
I know, and I just had it brought up. Life is a box
of cherries. No.
chocolates.
Okay, so we are going to be talking to a friend who's going to pop on, who's a really cool guy and a great Denver musician and a really neato dude.
Yeah, tell us more. Introduce him.
Named Seth Larson, and he's going to pop on. I don't know. Is he going to be in the green room, or are you going to put him?
He will.
Right on.
He should enter just like when you come on. It'll tell me he's there, and then I'll bring him in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's going to come on to talk about the reason for life. Are we creating more life, or is life here just to be lived? Anyway, so he's going to come on. Seth Larson, about 10 minutes after.
The post reads Thursday Thoughts.
Okay. That's us. Thursday Thoughts. We're the Thursday Thought people.
Thursday Thoughts. The purpose of life is to create life. So everybody can think on that. Yeah. You know, did you know that you cannot bring peanut butter on an airplane, Jackie Selby?
Why? Because it could be an explosive?
It is considered a liquid.
Peanut butter.
You can bring like it has to be like less than 3 ounces, like, in your carry-on. If you have a jar of peanut butter, it's going to get confiscated.
A whole jar.
Yes. Crunchy peanut butter is also deemed a liquid.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. That's the TSA.
So you tried this? Is this what we're finding out?
No, this guy, he went to the Twitter because he had his peanut butter confiscated.
Oh,
and he has like over 100,000 like interactions,
I had no idea.
Right. We have 52 followers on our YouTube, and this guy is posting about peanut butter, and he has,
millions of people responding.
Go figure.
He's
probably, okay, I have to vent. The worst person I saw this week. I'm stopped at an intersection, and so I'm going northbound.
All right.
Okay. In the southbound lane, they are stopped at the same intersection. Okay. We're at red lights. Totally witnessed this guy open the car door and just start shoveling trash right out onto the street, just like it was nothing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe in my 20s, I might have opened the car door to heave.
Well, heaving is one thing, Selby. That will
But
go
that's
away.
when I was drinking. Now that is a liquid.
I'm impressed that yes, that is a liquid. If chunky peanut butter is a liquid, then that's dumb. I'm impressed that you were able to stop, pull over, open the car door. Usually it was just kind of like, I've never puked out of a car door. I can honestly say I've never puked out of a car door.
Now, if somebody else is driving, I think one time I puked out a moving car window. But I think one time I was driving and I had to open it. It was, it was a Taco Bell thing. It was a Taco Bell thing.
I've had people in like the backseat while I'm driving be like, hey man. So yeah. So we're off. And the Leisure Podcast is up and running.
I think mine was related to a night after Herman's Hideaway or something, and in the 90s, and then the Taco Bell thing happened, and then the whole thing got jostled around, and it was like, nope, it's got to go. Pretty, huh?
That's
pretty.
Nice. Yeah.
No,
nice. Well, on that note,
gosh.
So this guy just dumps the trash out onto the street. So that's my thing. If I see someone out doing something else, that I'm just like, what? I mean, that just took me to the point this week of like, how many people really are out there doing that, which is just on a small scale. I mean,
I don't know. That's Denver for you. Watch
Dateline.
That's Denver.
Just see those crazy people. So now I see people and I see them out do something else that's just kind of like off a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure that guy probably dumps trash out on the street too. So.
Probably. Well, let's redeem ourselves with our weekly picture of Jesus the Redeemer.
Did you send that to me?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have it. That's okay.
No, I do have it. If you emailed it to me, so there.
So there's this statue in Brazil.
I don't have an email from you.
You don't? Oh, no. Boo. And each week I've been giving you a different picture of Jesus the Redeemer. So there's this photographer on Instagram, and that's all he does is publish pictures of this statue. And they put different colored lights. I mean, the thing is huge. The people look like little ants compared to this Jesus the Redeemer statue.
He's life size.
Oh, he's way bigger. Let me see. I might have sent it to you. Gosh, we talk to each other on like 5 different things, don't we, Scott Leisure? It was on text. Well, let me send it to you on email.
Okay. What color is it?
Scott Leisure.
Buster.
There's Buster. I sent it to your email. It's blue. It has a plane in it.
Is he wearing bunny ears for Easter? It's not there yet. Is he wearing bunny Easters? Bunny Easters. Bunny
Easters? He's not wearing any bunny Easters yet. Okay, I sent it to you.
Okay.
Scott Leisure. Did you get it now? All right.
All right. We'll find it. I can bring up this. Let's see.
Scott. The Leisure Show at Gmail?
Yeah.
Okay. Not the Leisure Podcast at gmail.com?
I check them both, but I don't really check the second one that often. But if anybody did want to get through to us, you can always go to scottleisure.com and contact me through there. You can, Jackie, you should just go there and then you can get through to my Spotify, to the YouTube. You can subscribe to all those.
All right. I sent it. That's why, because you don't check your Gmail account.
And Jackie sends this to me, and the subject line is Christ.
It's so good.
Jesus Christ. Here we go. And oh my gosh, it's small. What is going on here? And
okay, I have something else to mention about Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Okay, go.
Jesus Christ Superstar, the 50th, the Broadway play.
Yes. Da, da, da.
Yeah. Okay. So it's, I think it's in its 51st year, but anyways, one of the actors in Jesus Christ Superstar, a guy on Broadway, his name's James. He got caught up in this friznaz on January 6th, and he was at the Capitol building.
He got caught up in a what?
In this friznaz of the Capitol building on January 6th, 2 years. Was it 2 years ago? Oh my gosh.
Friznaz.
Isn't that beautiful? Look at that plane in front of Christ the Redeemer.
Friznaz.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, he gets fired from his Broadway play because the FBI came and routed him out and baselessly arrested the poor kid. Anyway, he didn't do anything wrong. He was actually helping a policeman not get beat up.
Get beat up.
Yeah, and he was wrongly charged. It was just the weirdest thing. And now he can't, his career has changed. How about that? Jesus Christ, superstar.
It's like he's flying over.
I know. Isn't it great?
That's cool. No, that's cool, Selby. I like it.
Thanks.
I like it a lot.
So the January 6th thing is just crazy. I mean,
you mean the insurrection? What did you call it?
Friznaz. Friznaz means, stuff that gets all messed up. Fubar.
Okay. Beyond all relief. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, we know Fubar.
Friznaz.
Can you see what kind of shock I'm in?
I've never
heard anybody say Friznaz.
That's because it's a Jackie Selby word.
It is a Jackie Selby word. Hey, do you use eye drops?
Sometimes. Yeah, I use those ones that are, because I had the surgery on the eyeballs.
Okay,
so the anti-dryness ones are the ones I use.
Okay, it doesn't give a brand here on this article. There's been a contaminated recall of eye drops. The death toll is...
What? Death toll?
The death toll is 3. 8 people have gone blind. And here we go, Selby. 4 people have had their, are you ready? Eyeballs surgically removed.
What is the brand, please?
Buster. I know, Buster.
Buster's upset about this. What is the brand?
I didn't have the brand. Listeners, I'm sorry, I don't have the brand. It just said Liquid Eyes. ABC News said Liquid Eyes. Is that a brand?
That's the brand, yes.
Oh, okay. Then it's Liquid Eyes.
Liquid Eyes.
Recalls. You could go and Google recall eye drops, surgically removed eyeballs, and I'm sure it'll come right up.
Hey, listen, I just had a thought. Why don't we get our own coffee cups? Coffee cups for the show.
We do. We need matching. I looked for one at the store of thrift today with an L, unsuccessfully.
Oh, that's too bad.
I like that idea, though. I like it a lot. Mm-hmm.
We need our own coffee cups.
Leisure coffee cups.
So what time is it? Do you think Seth will be popping on here any second now?
I have 7-Eleven.
Okay, 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. You probably stopped by there the night that you hurled out the window, too.
Probably. I used to live by the 7-Eleven on Louisiana. And,
right.
Okay.
Go
ahead. And no. Logan. Louisiana and Logan.
What? Why don't they have drive-through 7-Elevens? Please answer me this.
I don't know. Can you imagine what kind of friznaz that would make?
Be like a total insurrection.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, how cool would that be? Pull up, I'd like a large...
There's too many items.
Give me a large Slurpee, a Slim Jim, a pack of Trojans, and 3 lotto tickets,
And a jar of Skippy peanut butter.
And a jar of peanut butter. I'm taking a flight.
You almost made me choke. My gosh.
Waiting for Seth. He'll be there. He's just being leisurely. It is the leisure show.
Okay, in the meantime,
go.
My cousin was helping her. My first cousin, her name's Sally. She's the greatest. She's the one that helps us promote the podcast.
Sally P.
Yeah, Sally P. She's got her birthday coming up. Happy birthday in advance, Sal.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Well, she has a sister-in-law who had the belief that today the how do I say this? The UFOs were coming. 3/23 was the day the UFOs were supposed to arrive. And I hadn't heard this, and I'm a UFO buff.
It's 3/23/2023.
That's correct.
Yeah. It's a conundrum. It's a
well, it's Fresnaz. The whole day has gone by and I haven't seen one UFO. So I do have a poem, however, since you're a poet and you write poetry every night.
I do.
Every Tuesday night.
No, yeah, once a week. If I when I first got really into it, I was kind of every nighting it there for a while.
Now, Scott, just because you never promote yourself, I will. But if you go to scottleisure.com, Scott has his first book of poetry that he published last year, and he's working on a second one. That's why every Tuesday night he goes to the coffee shop and sits there and writes poetry.
Put on my drone meditation because I can't listen to music and write a poem. Yes.
And that's fairly prolific of somebody who can write poetry every night of the week. Now, we have a musician who's going to be coming on here, so we can ask him about his, lyric writing, I suppose.
Speaking of musicians that could be possibly showing up on the show tonight.
Yes.
I'm sick of emailing the guy because I never hear back from him. I've given him my phone number. So tonight I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to send him a direct link to the Zoom. And if he calls me or texts me or emails me back, he'll know, or maybe he'll just pop in. Because Selby, I will not. Our goal. We've got to get John Hinckley on the show. I sent him an email.
Joking me with this Hinckley business.
Hey, keep it down, Buster. Yeah.
Buster's upset about the mention of John Hinckley's name.
You wait till he's on. That's gonna be awesome.
That's really funny. Awesome. What if he popped on here? Isn't he in jail?
That would be epic. No, he never went to jail, Jackie. Oh, Seth is waiting in the room. Do you want to?
All right.
Let's let him in. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Seth Larson is joining us.
Seth Larson, people. Look at this guy.
Larson is on mute. Oh, there we go.
Seth.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey, Jackie.
How's it going? And this is Scott Leisure.
Hi, Scott.
How you doing, Seth?
Very well.
I love you. Thank you for miking up. I love you for this.
Yeah.
See, man.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So I was talking about you at the top of the broadcast here that you're a Colorado musician with the band Something Underground, you and your brother Josh, well known in the music community and in fact in your family, right? You guys are the Singing Larsons or something. Your dad is a musician too.
And my mom and sister and nieces and nephew, everybody else, the Von Larsons.
The Von Larson family.
You guys could have your own marching band.
Yeah, and we're building more as we speak.
Excellent.
You are?
Well, there was the 2.5-year-old that we built, who's coming along quite nicely, and then who knows if there's more in the future? We'll see.
Oh, you got me all excited. I thought this was an announcement.
I'll pause on any announcements. Yeah.
Oh, Seth, but Seth, there she is. Look how cute she is, Scott. Hi, babe. Hi, honey.
Welcome to the Leisure Podcast.
Lights. You see the lights?
Yeah. You like the lights? Yeah. She's growing up so fast.
She is very much so. She says a lot of sentences, a lot of ideas.
Does she play the drums yet?
Yeah, we were just doing that last night. Actually, I was playing the cajon and the little choo-choo train thing, and she was playing all the percussion around me. So that worked out pretty well.
What a little sweetheart!
Yeah, she's pretty neat.
Well, you had quite the thought-provoking Facebook post today.
Yeah, my wife was just asking me what the deal was. She's like, "What? What did you?
What can of worms did you open?"
I know. Well, I like opening cans of worms probably more than I oughta, but I also just really like conversations about big ideas, and I really like people pushing back on ideas. So I was speaking with a friend last night about life, and that thought came out in one way or the other. And so I just decided I'd throw it through the gauntlet and see what people thought about today. And it was pretty interesting reactions, as I'm sure you read through.
Yes.
You didn't have kickback from your post, though. That was, it was thought provoking. It was, Let's bring it up again, Jack. Or can you remember? Do you have it memorized? So,
Yeah, I think the statement was life, the purpose of life is to create life.
Is to create life, yes.
Yeah, and so I meant it in very broad terms, meaning anything living. But I think a majority of people interpret it as, and understandably so, the purpose of human life is to create human life. And so there was some pushback or some feelings about that statement, I think, as interpreted like that. And it's not what I intended, and I tried to explain that a little bit better in some of my follow-up comments, but I thought that was also an interesting response, because the word life itself has been co-opted for political purposes here for many decades, as we all know. And so
agreed.
It's a tricky word to play with.
It really is, especially when there's a word before it or a word after it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And you get into kind of questioning people's value or purpose based on fertility and biological function. And, some people rightfully probably would take issue with that. So I get it.
That's a pretty deep subject, really. I'm sitting here, on the podcast with two guys who are fathers, and I never had kids. So that's not to say in other lifetimes, I'm sure I had 13 or 14, but it just wasn't in this lifetime for me to have them. So, but you're right about creating life. There's songs. We were just talking, Scott's a poet. He has a book of poetry that's out now. And he sits down to write poetry every Tuesday night, and he's got volumes of poetry.
I love that.
I don't know volumes, Jackie, but
well, you got notebooks.
Yeah, I've got a couple notebooks full. I've got a couple notebooks. So when I do the book, I have to put in 75 pages. Kindle, right? Kindle, yeah, that's what I did it through. I'm very bad with like companies' names sometimes, but yeah, you have to have 75 pages minimum to publish a book through Kindle.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
Of course, with poetry, you could have a 1 or 2 word poem and call that a page.
I could, yeah.
You got some artistic freedom there.
I will not use the word life or any other word that goes with it.
Interesting.
Too much.
Well, do you think that question, that you asked on Facebook is different now that you are a dad?
Yeah, for sure. It's changed kind of almost everything about what I feel like my purpose is. Like now my purpose is very clear, and it's to provide for, protect, and raise my child to the best of my ability. And in that is all to provide that same thing to my wife, who's our primary caregiver and teacher of our child. So my responsibilities and how I factor into that have become very clear. And before having a child, certainly wanting to make a child, I think I was probably a little bit more unclear about maybe what my purpose was, and maybe this isn't my sole purpose, but it feels like my sole purpose, and I mean it in both senses of the word. Soul as in only, and soul as in whatever that energy is at the core of human existence. So it's changed considerably, for sure.
Yeah.
How young of a gentleman are you, Seth?
He's an old guy when he got started.
I'm an old man. I'm 47. My wife is considerably younger. But I also was, and to some degree still am, kind of an adult child. I think there's a lot of boys, a lot of men who fall into that category, and I certainly would consider myself one of them. Having a child and being in the spot I am, I feel like I'm closer to adulthood now than ever before. But I also, felt majority of my life has been spelt as more of a man child than an adult, for sure.
Well, that's good. I mean, and that'll help you in your parenting endeavors. Keep staying young. I mean, my rule in raising my kid was to, especially at that age, what'd you say, 2.5?
Yeah.
especially at that age, my rule was that I would never allow the kid to outlast me in a day. That was my rule. I mean, you hear those parents are just like, oh, he wore me out. No, not happening. Not happening. Because, and that it just kept going and kept going and kept going. I mean, yeah, you're right, Jackie. And Seth, the kids, being a parent is a game changer. It's a big game changer,
Agreed. And it was a welcome change as well. And my goal is to stay as young as possible physically and to some degree mentally, so that I can do what you're suggesting here, which is to keep up with them physically. I mean, but one of my other goals is by the age she's 12, she should be able to kick my butt if all goes well, because we'll put her through some martial arts training and make sure she's able to be resilient out in the world. But my intention is to be able to physically keep up with her as long as possible, starting at 46 or 45, I guess I was. Going to take a little bit extra effort, but it can and must be done. So
yeah,
that's it.
That's mindset, though. It only is going to take extra effort if you think it's going to take extra effort.
Fair.
Well, we all wear out. In Seth's defense, he has had a guitar strapped around his neck, for a very long time. And I think a lot of musicians suffer with arthritis and things like that as they go. Not that any other working man that isn't, who is a plumber or a trashman or anything else, with the repetitive motion, or woman. I don't want to talk myself into a corner, but I certainly understand that. But Seth and I practice this, the same. We practice something for self-health called Pita Lajin, which is a traditional Chinese medicine practice. Hey, there's your Pita tools. Woo! I got mine right here.
Nice.
It's a slapping technique.
I got nothing.
I know. Anyway, yay. I got my purple one going.
Nice.
But anyways, it's all about tapping in places that, along your meridian lines to open up the clogs in your meridian. And that's all arthritis is a clogged meridian. Call us if you need any consultation. Anyway, but I think that's a divine, I really believe that when you take your health into your own hands, and you decide you're going to do Qigong, you're going to do Tai Chi, you're going to do Pita Lajin, you're going to do, because the Eastern practices are just wonderful and they're free. You can treat yourself.
Anything to do with health. I mean, the way you eat,
once you take it,
whatever it is,
once you take it into your own hands, then you have something turns on, like you're bumped up. You have a Kundalini awareness situation happening, I feel like. But people just don't. They just, what? Potatoes? Where do they come from? The French fry machine. So I think that's going to divide us in the end.
Yeah, and we've certainly been fed quite a bit of information about what a typical diet should be in America. And I think most of us have probably come to the conclusion that it's not what we ought to be eating.
Yeah.
I'm 6 months into the carnivore diet, which has been one of the more radical experiments I've done with my diet over the last 40 plus years, for lots of reasons, mainly because it serves as an elimination diet. But that's been a pretty fascinating experience, and just to kind of know that it's literally the opposite of what is suggested by the FDA and any sort of medical association.
Yeah.
And,
so did you find out you were happier without, you by elimination, obviously carnivore, so you're not eating wheat, you're not eating rice, you're not eating lots of things that can clog you up. Are you eating grass-fed? Are you taking it to that level?
Mostly
Good.
grass-fed, certainly as organic as possible.
Good.
That's
cool.
I just got back from Mexico, though, and we were at a resort. And so I continued on with carnivore. But what I realized is that most everything is likely cooked in seed oils. And I put on 7 pounds in 7 days, and I ended up getting sick with some other thing afterward. But definitely felt the difference between what I eat here, which is pretty clean, organic, usually grass-fed stuff, and what I was experiencing down there. And I have a feeling that is contributing largely to our lack of well-being here in this country, like how we're cooking our foods.
Oh, for sure.
Well, rule number one: don't listen to what the FDA wants to
All right.
to know.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean that's rule number one.
That's right. That's right.
What was it, 1970 or early 70s, where they had the study that came out that was like fat's worse in you than sugars are.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Remember all that? So then everybody stopped eating fat and they got fatter. Yeah.
That's right.
Good times.
Yeah, and started adding the margarine molecules, which I think is pretty close to in the seed oils and the rest of it.
But I think that, go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
Which was all approved by who? The FDA.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
An alphabet organization.
It is what did you call it, Jackie? A frizz?
A Friznaz. It's all Friznaz. Mm-hmm.
Friznaz.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it before the end of the podcast.
I just noticed the birds aren't real thing in the background. So now I know where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. starting to grip it, are you?
Yeah. Well, I at least know Jackie well enough to know he'd be in good company with talking about ideas.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, some birds are real because you can't have scarecrows without real people, right?
Right.
Wow. Down the rabbit hole we went, real just like that.
Welcome to the Leisure Podcast.
I mean, at this point, I think I question almost everything, including death. I mean, someone asked me, I've asked the question, what are you certain of? Like in life, what are you certain of? And a lot of people will say death. And to that, I would say I'm like 99.9% sure that death is real. But that, like, I can't say I'm certain about it because, like, I don't know. I haven't done it.
You haven't experienced it. Life is through experience.
Oh man, there's some good books on that out there.
Oh, I bet.
That Danian Brinkley, he's died like 6 times.
Wow.
Danian. Oh gosh, his book is so good.
How was he dying those 6 times?
Okay, so the first time, it was back in the day when you used to be on a phone that had phone lines.
Yep.
And lightning struck and hit the house and right through the phone line.
Hold on.
And it shot him upwards, left his shoes on the ground and shot him up to the ceiling.
Oh,
where he bonked his head and his insides were completely ruined. And there he was floating around in the corner, watching himself smoke, like his body was smoking. I know. And he survived that one. Oh God, Scott, I haven't told you about that book yet. Oh, I can't believe it. So anyways, he's still alive. His heart was ruined. They have no idea how he repaired himself, but his higher self or the universe or whatever said, you're not done. You're going to suffer though, because you were a bastard. Wow. And he was really a SOB in business and in his marriages and stuff. He's like, they're like, no, you got to learn some lessons here, boy. He's from South Carolina. He's so funny. Oh my gosh. And he still lectures, believe it or not. He was just doing a lecture series in Sedona with a bunch of those, woo-woo people.
Yeah.
If I ever have an outer body experience like that, please don't let me be charred, though.
Okay, really I'll try not to. Get his name, Danny.
So he had to undergo like surgeries after that, or
a whole bunch of surgeries. Yeah, and they said your heart's ruined, so they had a bunch of heart surgeries, and he died during those things too. It's like above his body. Dolores Cannon also writes about the Between Death and Life. That's a great book by Dolores Cannon. But that's one thing I know for sure is that you don't really die. You just go to the next thing.
You just go to the next thing.
And you learn what this lesson was about.
Your body is a vessel.
That's what happens.
It's also a wonderland.
Yeah, this we forget everything when we come in here. We decide, okay, yep, you came in here. You decided before you came in here that you were going to be her dad, that you were going to marry. Your wife's name is Natalie? Nadia, sorry. So I know I was so mad when you started dating her. I'm like, wow, I can't have this man. He met her. She's pretty. I can't, damn it, and tall. Anyway,
got me good.
So when you came into this life, same with you, Scott, you're like, yep, okay, I'll come into this life. These are lessons I need to learn. I need to learn how to be a dad. I need to understand that level of compassion, all those things. So that's why you guys are here, is to do that job. But we forget all that when we come into the lifetime because our brain is not set up for that. It'd be too confusing.
I do tend to believe something like that, in even that there could be some choice in the matter of what family you come into.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I tend to believe that. Now, that's again one of those things that I wouldn't ever say with certainty, because then there's also the, sort of the Sam Harris, no free will, sort of like everything is just like a chemical and hormonal drive, and like all these fantasies or stories we've made up is just to like keep our minds calm with the inevitable thought of perishing in the end. So I think that's plausible as well, but I definitely choose to believe something closer to what you're talking about, Jackie.
Oh, trust me, if anybody has any doubt about what we're here for, read that book. He's written several. His name is Danian, spelled not Dan, but he says Danian because he's from South Carolina. Danian Brinkley, New York Times and international best-selling author, Saved by the Light and At Peace and Light. So anyways, he went on to, after all that stuff, he was so sick and so dying. He has gone on to coach like thousands and thousands, like 10,000 people at the hospice level. So he goes into hospice and talks to them and tells them what he's seen and counsels them through what could be a very frightening experience. If you have no faith and you're laying there dying in a hospice, you don't know what's going to happen to you.
Boy, thank God he's out there doing that work.
And he trains other people to do it. I want to go through his training when I retire. I want to go through his training.
I have a feeling sort of that type of work, along with psychedelics for end of life stuff, is probably some of the more useful ways to go about it. Because we also seem to be very disconnected from death in our culture, which is another thing I'm trying to re-envision for my daughter. We've been raising chickens. We've had now we've had 4 die since she was born, and so she's experienced seeing a chicken take its last breath and us putting it to the ground and sort of explaining to her what's going on. And so we have like our little mini suburban farm here, but I think because I was very disconnected from that part of the life cycle. I thought hunters were the worst, even if I was eating a ham sandwich at the time. Like I couldn't make that connection. And so we're trying to just have her have a closer connection to that part of the life cycle, because
that's cool
for all of us.
I like it.
Maybe it's coming for all of us. Yeah,
it's coming. But according to Dolores Cannon, with all of her regressions and everything like that, you guys, if it's a car wreck or whatever it is, the second, it's just like taking another breath. That breath ends, then you exhale, then you inhale, and now you're out of the body. And you're looking at it going, God, that thing is oh so worn out. What was I so holding on to it so much for? It's just an old meat sack. Can I have a new one? And you do, you get a new one. So anyway, but about coming in to choosing, you said, who you incarnate with. We incarnate in family groups. So maybe in the last lifetime, your daughter was your dad, and you were the daughter, or Nadia was, or all that stuff, or your brother, or your mom, or your dad. It's all mixed up, but we incarnate with the same souls over and over and over.
Yeah, those.
Ask Siren about that one. Siren has new information about this.
Yay! All right.
Yeah. Have you talked to Siren lately? Our common friend Siren.
It's been a couple months, and he sent me the video of his new digs in is it North Carolina? Is that right?
North Carolina. Yeah. Give him a call. Oh my gosh, there's so much happened since we saw each other, all of us together. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Anyway, sorry, Scott. What were you going to say?
I forgot now.
Oh, so Scott, your dad is waiting for you on the other side. Scott was very close to his father.
No, I'm just saying that, like, what you were going on with when you're coming into this world, those souls are all those energies, whatever you want to call them, they're all connected. I mean, It's just like when you're walking out on the earth, you walk out the door and there's people that you're not going to jive with. There's people you are going to jive with, and there's like your tribe, it's good, deep stuff.
Oh, it's so good.
I just was reading this again. The purpose of life is to create life. And then I was thinking about the gentleman that you were talking about, Jackie, that had that is helping the people exit the world in their hospice situations. I mean, that guy right there is doing exactly what Seth posted about.
That's right. You're creating.
And all it was Seth, what time did you post that? Early this morning?
8 in the morning.
Yeah. 8 in the morning. So you woke up, had this thought, boom, there it goes. And look at what it has generated.
Yeah.
It generated Jackie.
It created. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Scott.
No, it Jackie saw it and boom, there it was. And those were all these energies. I'm looking at us on like my Zoom, which I have minimized so I can see the Facebook, and we're all just like right in a line. There we are, right in a line, but it created this. It created more energy. It's just what you said. The purpose of life is to create life.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pretty wild. That just somewhat of a random thought. But I love it. I just love hearing people's perspective, and even just a single line that someone posts, you get a sense for where they're coming from, and maybe even you can start to guess their personal story and like how they've arrived there. There's like some deep feeling in some of that, especially with I think the people that responded in the sense of the purpose of human life is to create human life. And if you're not able to do that, certainly it's kind of one thing to choose. There's probably another experience that comes with wanting to have done that or to be able to do that and not being able to do that. Then I could see some really deep feelings that would come with that. So I definitely, my wife she was pushing back on all that because that's how she interpreted it. She's like, well, can you see how other people would? Absolutely. And I find no fault in anybody who interpreted it. That's why I kept it so vague in a way, because I wanted people to fill in the space. And in my mind, I'm thinking life as in living beings, and I'm talking from single cells to the most complex beings that you can imagine. There's just life. And it seems like life works so hard to make sure that it leaves some of itself and new versions of itself behind. And in my feeling with my daughters has been like, my goal with her is to raise her to be resilient and capable in this world, but also to give her as beautiful of an earth experience as I can in the time that we have. And to me, that looks a lot like nature and ocean and big trees and a lot of sort of the physical, natural things of the world. But also got to help build armor and understand what it's like to walk out in a world that's not necessarily safe. And it never has been, because life requires death. Death requires life. They're just the opposite sides of the same coin.
But are they?
Right.
Good
question. Good question. Are they?
I think it's perpetual. It's just like the universe. There's no way to measure it.
In like simple terms, but through many actions and words, the two things that I really wanted and want my son to take forward is to be safe, and B, as simple as I can put it, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole and be safe. And things, if you're doing those two things, things go a lot simpler. They really do. And Jackie and I have discussions about, recovery, and you really are leading a different life, kind of going back to that guy. Well, not totally going back to that guy that was helping people with their hospice situation, but some of the people that, you encounter in recovery are at that point. If you don't get there and start talking to them, there's a very good chance that those people are going to go out and not come back and go do whatever it is, whether it's taking themselves out or, running off the road or just poisoning their bodies.
Yeah.
And you give them and watch them change. You go into some of those recovery rooms, Jackie, and literally you see people change. Their appearance changes. Look at those pictures that they have up online where they've got like the meth head lady.
Yeah.
Like a year later, she's, it's like night and day. It's making life. Where to go? making life out of life. Just
it
living
also,
life, man.
it also occurred to me that just by existing, you create life. So just within our beings, our physical beings, like we're creating cells, bacteria, fungus, virus. I mean, we're whether you want to or not, you are by proxy and directly creating life one way or the other. And then a lot of people create life in very direct ways by growing plants, raising animals. Children is obviously another way to do it, but there's a lot of ways to create life.
Yeah, it was just a couple of days ago, Scott. I think we missed it. It was a National Agriculture Day or whatever, and all the farmers are such a big thing now for people to give up their life in the city and go buy a piece of land somewhere and become farmers. And I love it. I can't watch enough of it on social media. That's all I watch. I'm like, look at those people growing stuff. I love it.
It's prudent to prune, as a wise gardener once told me.
Yes, the garden weasels. Yeah.
Well, good stuff. This has been a great chat, man.
I'm so glad you came on.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for inviting me on. It's honored to be considered. And I love having conversations with people who love having conversations about big stuff. And it has occurred to me that many of us are hesitant to speak about big things, like words like life, and for where that could lead, for fear of how we could be perceived out there. And that, that's a reasonable thing to be concerned about and mindful of, especially because things like this conversation can go out and become viral in a moment. And so you really got to be careful with your words, and maybe feel strongly about it, and know that people will push back and people will have feelings about it. So I appreciate anyone that's out there having conversations that can elicit this kind of response or feelings from people, even if it's risky. I think we need to take some risks in order to have these conversations.
So had you had your coffee before you post that, or do you drink? Is coffee on the diet?
2 coffees.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Two coffees with a lot of butter and
butter. Yummy.
Cream.
Heck yeah.
Yummy.
I love it. What else, Selby? What else?
I have to read my poem. Do you want to stay on?
Read your poem.
Okay.
Let's read poems. Do you have a poem too, Seth? We might as all go. Well,
here's the thing: is this dude out in the middle of the desert named George Van Tassel, 70-something years ago, was visited by. You can go visit where he used to live, called Giant Rock. It's out in Landers, California. And he had the very first encounter with UFOs, and he called the president of the United States and then LA Times, all this stuff in the late 40s and early 50s. He said, listen, this guy named Selgonda landed at my airport out here in the desert. And he said that if we don't be careful, they're going to stop all the nukes, and we're going to kill if we don't stop the nukes, then we're going to wipe each other off the planet. And these are the steps that we need to follow as humanity. And it's interesting because the giant rock itself is also part of Hopi history, because it was the biggest granite stone, freestanding stone in North America, in the world, until it cracked. And there's a big cleave in it if you ever want to look at the pictures that I took of it on my social media. Anyway, so George Van Tassel, all these years ago, he wrote a bunch of books, and unfortunately he lost his life over this whole thing because he was building something called the Integratron, which you can also Google, and it's sitting out there in the desert. And I visited it last year at this time. It's not used for that purpose anymore, and all of his family members are dead. Anyway, except for his nephew, who I met, and somebody who keeps all the records. And he gave me a copy of this book, which I'm going to get delivered to Siren in just a few days, because this is the one that Siren doesn't have yet. Okay, just real quick. Please be patient with me, you guys. So here's what George says. The golden density. Ever since 1953, at times, we have painted a message from the golden density. In other words, from the other side. He channels Selgonda and the guys that were the spaceship guys who landed on us. Anyway, we have inquiries as to how these messages have originated. And since 1949, we have held group meditations weekly. 49 people. 1949. This is not a new issue. Anyways, so they met consistently, and he built this little phone to talk to the Uganda, and Siren even has the audio files. So I'll play some of, I know Siren is the man, right? So I'm going to read you a very short poem that was written by Salganda, who is an alien, and it was channeled by the group meditation and George Van Tassel. Ready?
And think about it, 1949 is like pre-technology.
Thank you. He built the technology himself to receive the messages. He was an engineer for I get excited. Sorry. He was an engineer for for Howard Hughes. He was one of Howard Hughes's test pilots. So this is not just some scrum living out in the desert. Super, super accomplished fellow. All right. It's a little poem. It's called Completeness. Your eyes reach out to see the stars, not realizing each has stars within. Through sin may barricade your way to me. Change will be your constant sword to rend the veil, and I shall hail you in your victory over self.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Straight from an alien named Salganda to George Van Tassel and his group in Weekly Meditations in the early 50s. Sorry, I get excited.
I'm gonna have to check that cat out.
Dude.
It sounds very familiar to me.
I can't believe Siren didn't tell you the whole thing once before.
He may have. I don't know if did you post stuff about this on your social media site?
Last year I went out to the desert. I met with this cat who has a lot of these records, gave me a copy of the book. I met, and his George Van Tassel, who is the guy who's long gone, his nephew came to my house in Vegas and I interviewed him. And he has written his own books about the experience, because all of these people have talked to aliens and had alien encounters and abductions and stuff. Fascinating
stuff. Yeah, very fascinating.
Because speaking of creating, I mean, it's infinite, the amount of beings that could be out there, that are out there, in my opinion, creating. That's why we call God the creator, because we were created. That's the end of my speech.
And we are creating.
And we're creating now by talking about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Scott has a great book of poetry at scottleisure.com.
I'm going to check it out, Scott. It's good to know.
And check out Seth's music.
And I sent you a friend request, Seth. So I post those every Tuesday night.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Check out the Larson brothers on Something Underground is the name of their band. That keeps me
from getting the second book done, because I'm like into write them. So then I need to sit down and like compile them, but that's just more time.
He has great poetry. He really does. He doesn't give himself any credit. It's great.
I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Say hi, kiss the babe, and kiss Nadia for me.
I will with great pleasure. Thank you both so much for.
Thank you,
man. Great discussion tonight, folks.
Really grateful.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right. And we'll post this up and we'll tag in it, and good stuff.
You can listen to the Leisure podcast on Spotify,
YouTube. All of those can be accessed through scottleisure.com.
Peace out, people.
Thanks
Be
so
good
much.
to yourselves.
Thank
Drink
you.
your water.
Drink your water. Stay hydrated.
Peace.